For Lesson 1's practice exercise, we're going to open one of our files in Photoshop and work through it. We will be touching on several of the main tools of Photoshop, so let's just open this and get going. Often in our practice files section, you will find instructions to download one of the images. If I click on this, it opens the high quality image. I can click and drag this down to my Photoshop icon on my dock and let it go, and it will actually open it right up in Photoshop. Okay, so to zoom in closer, what you can do is grab your zoom tool. The zoom tool has got some automatic settings. Yours has scrubby zoom turned on, which means if you click and drag left or right, it will zoom in and out. I hate this setting because I always click and drag accidentally and then my screen goes everywhere. So I usually uncheck that for me. Feel free to use it for you. I just am used to something else, so I'm going to uncheck scrubby zoom. Once scrubby zoom is unchecked, I can actually click and drag to zoom in around an area, which I prefer. To zoom back out or see the whole thing again, you've got some options up here on your control bar, such as Fit to Screen. Fill Screen will literally fill your screen so that it is filled top to bottom and left to right. Or you could say at 100%, which will try and it'll take it literally with the pixels and make them, I don't know quite how to explain that, but 100% is what this thinks it is. If you right click with your zoom tool, you'll also see there's some options. One of them is print size. Now, before you take print size at its word, you should probably grab a ruler and take a look at your ruler sizes up here. So if you don't have rulers showing, go to View and choose Rulers. Now you'll notice mine says 0 to 100, and obviously that's not inches, or this would be ginormous. So to find out what it's displaying in, right click on it, and you can see it's showing at percent right now. If I wanted to see it in inches, I can choose inches, and it will change both my side and top ruler. So now I can see that this document is actually 8.5 inches wide. To double check if your screen is showing accurate sizes, you can grab a ruler and hold it up to your screen and see how an inch compares to one on your screen, and that'll just give you an idea how far off of true print size your screen is actually showing. So to grab your zoom tool, you can either click here on the bottom of the toolbar, or you can hit the letter Z as in Z. Let's zoom in just a little bit and take a look at the instructions. So with my scrubby zoom turned off, I can just click a couple of times. Now you'll notice I've lost some of my instructions up here. I want to move my screen down so that I can see what's up at the top. I can do that a couple ways. The easiest way at any point to do that is to hold spacebar. You'll notice your control will turn to a hand, and you can click and drag, and that will let you pan around your image so that you can see more of it. Just like most other things I'm going to show you in Photoshop, there tends to be multiple ways to do this. So in your toolbar, you do have a hand tool. You can actually switch to your hand tool and move around, which means you don't have to use a key on the keyboard. You also have some scrolly bars on the side that will show up once you're zoomed in past an edge of your document. So there's just a couple ways that you can look. I also like to use Command minus and plus quite a bit. So Command minus will zoom out, Command plus will zoom in, and Command 0 will fit it to the screen. Alrighty, so we've got our zoom and our panning down. Let's take a look at the eyedropper and the bucket tool. What this assignment is you will actually, using these color scheme rules that we just talked about, create your own color schemes according to the rules. So you can do that by pulling off of either of these color wheels. The thing you need to remember though is don't mix the color wheels. So if you start monochromatic from a green in this color wheel, you need to finish the monochromatic with the rest of the greens in this color wheel. To pick a color, let's going to zoom in just a little bit. Remember, grab your zoom tool or hit Z and click That way it fills up a little bit more of our screen. To pick one of these colors, you need what's called the Eyedropper tool. It is in your toolbar about 4 or 5 down from the top. If you click on it, you'll notice that your tool becomes a little eyedropper. And if I click on one of these colors, let's go with the green example I was talking about earlier, I can see that down here in my little color chips, the front color changed. So that is currently my active foreground color. If I wanted to change this color, I can actually do that a couple ways. So one is to grab your eyedropper tool and click around your screen. You'll notice that this big circle comes up. It will show the color that you have already on the top, or no, I lied, on the bottom, and then it will change the color on the top to what you're changing to. You can turn that off if you don't like it up here in Show Sample Ring. So, alright, I've gotten a little bit sidetracked. I apologize. This eyedropper tool, you can grab a color by clicking. You can also select a color by clicking down here on this little front color chip, which will pull up this, and then it automatically becomes an eyedropper tool when you've got that. So just once again, I can have any other tool, such as my zoom tool, chosen, and instead of grabbing my eyedropper, I can click on this front chip and choose a new color. Alright, that's probably more color information than you wanted to know, but let's hit OK and move on. Once I have the color picked, how do I put it where I want it to go? The tool we'll be working with today is called the paint bucket. Now if you look over in your toolbar, you'll notice there's no paint bucket. That's because it is docked underneath another tool. You'll notice most of these tools have this little tiny arrow down in the bottom right hand corner of them. That means that there's more than one tool docked there. Right now I'm just going to tell you, you're not going to know where they're at until you look. So if you click and hold down, it will show you what tools are in there, and then you can move your mouse over and choose which one you want. So the paint bucket tool is docked next to the gradient. So if I come over here, I can choose this. But while we're right here, I'll also point out each one of these tools has a shortcut key. And I could get that tool by just hitting G. But actually, by hitting G, I would get whichever one is currently active out of that menu. So we are switching to Paint Bucket. Paint Bucket will fill in an area with whatever you have colored until it hits a solid edge or a change in pixels. So in our case, we don't really have to worry about that right now. We're going to fill in these blocks of color. So I'm going to pick my main first color, which is this green, and click here on my first big rectangle, and that's going to be my main color. Then I need to pick my next color. So I can do that by coming back and grabbing my eyedropper tool, or if I click and hold, I can see that the shortcut for that tool is I, and I can choose another one. Now remember, monochromatic is when you only use one wedge of that wheel, and these are down here to help you remember. So I can't pick any other colors to go in monochromatic except what is in that wheel. So I can grab that and then come back and get my paint bucket and drop in a new one. On this color wheel, just so you know, this outer ring and the fourth ring in are the same color. They're the pure color, and then between them, this is tints. That's tones. Tints is when white is added. Tone is when black is added. Okay, and you would go through and fill up the rest of your color schemes this way. Now I'm going to show you a couple quick trick for doing this faster. Grab your eyedropper tool. No, let's grab the bucket tool. So when I have my bucket tool, if I hold down the Option key, it automatically turns into an eyedropper, which makes this a lot faster. I can click here, let go of the Option key, and click over on the right to finish adding those colors. Looks like I actually got a copy of the same color in there. There we go. That is a monochromatic color scheme. So just remember, choose from one wheel, not both, and refer down here to the bottom rules if you need a quick reminder on how to do this.